A former dealership service manager went on record and said they are trained to make that SUV look and smell like it just rolled off the assembly line, and that what is underneath is a completely different story. Every single day, millions of Americans walk onto used car lots and hand over their life savings for a trade-in SUV that has been through a process most people have never heard of. A process designed specifically to hide what is wrong with that vehicle long enough to get your signature on the paperwork. Today we are pulling back the curtain on exactly what happens behind those service bay doors, from the moment your old SUV rolls onto their lot to the moment it lands on the used inventory page with a shiny price tag and a certified pre-owned sticker. And wait until you get to number 3, because what dealers do to the onboard computer before reselling is something that should be completely illegal, but is not in most states. Let's count down from troubling to absolutely infuriating. Number 10. The 30-second trade in appraisal is a calculated lowball. This is where it starts, and it starts with you getting robbed before you even hand over the keys. When you pull your SUV into a dealership for a trade-in appraisal, the manager who walks around it with a clipboard for 30 seconds is not actually inspecting your vehicle. He is running a script. Dealers use appraisal software like Vaudo and Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to pull market data in seconds. They already know what your SUV is worth. That walkabout is theater designed to make you feel like they have found problems with your vehicle, so they can justify giving you thousands less than it is actually worth. The real kicker is this: the same SUV they lowballed you on at $14,000 will be sitting on their used lot 2 weeks later with a $24,999 sticker. That $11,000 spread between what they paid you and what they are charging. The next buyer is called the front-end gross, and every dealership in America is maximizing it on every single trade in that comes through. One former used car manager posted on a Reddit thread that went viral. He said he appraised a 2019 Tahoe at $16,500 for a woman who owed $17,000 on it. They listed it that afternoon for $29,800. She got a dealer to buy it for the payoff and thought she got a good deal. The dealership made $13,000 in 2 weeks. That is not a rarity. That is Tuesday. Number 9. The detail shop doesn't clean your SUV, it disguises it. After your trade-in is logged into inventory, it gets sent to the detail department. And what happens in that detail shop is not what you think. Yes, they vacuum it, shampoo the carpets, and make it smell like a new car again. But here is what they are really doing. They are masking problems, not cleaning them. Smoke damage gets treated with ozone generators and odor-eliminating sprays that neutralize cigarette smell for 60 to 90 days. After that, the smell comes back, every time. Pet urine and mildew get the same treatment. It smells clean when you test drive it. 6 weeks after you buy it and park it in a hot garage, you will understand what they were covering up. Stained headliners get spot cleaned or replaced with generic fabric that does not match the rest of the interior. Worn leather seats get leather conditioner applied so heavily that they look almost new under dealership lighting. That same seat in sunlight 3 months from now will show every crack and wear mark. There is a product detailers use called Armor All Tire Foam. But they do not just use it on tires. They spray it on door jambs, plastic trim, and rubber seals to create a fresh, glossy appearance that fades within weeks. A car detailer with 11 years in the industry posted a TikTok in 2024 showing exactly how dealerships use what he called the illusion kit. It got 4.2 million views, before the Dealership Association pressured the platform to review it. His comment was, "We are taught to make people believe it is clean, not make it actually clean." Number 8. Cheap paint and bodywork that passes the eye test and nothing else. Every trade-in SUV with door dings, scratches, or minor collision damage goes through what dealers call a make-ready process. And that process has one goal: pass the visual inspection at delivery. Nothing more. Paint and body shops that work with dealerships operate on a fixed cost model. The dealer pays a flat rate per panel, usually $150 to $300 per panel for blending and touch-up work. For that price, you are not getting a proper multi-stage repaint with color-matched base coat and clear coat. You are getting a spray and blend job done in an open shop with portable lighting. Here is the problem. That kind of paint work looks perfect under the fluorescent lights of a dealership. In direct sunlight, you will see color mismatches within days. Within a year, cheap blend work starts peeling, especially in temperature extremes. One body shop owner who does subcontract work for 3 major metro dealerships told CarEdge in 2023 that they have 72 hours to turn around a panel repair. Do the math on what kind of work you can do in 72 hours for $200. And the really alarming part? None of this shows up on the vehicle history report. Carfax and AutoCheck only capture incidents reported to insurance. A dealer doing their own cosmetic repairs before listing is completely invisible. You will need a paint thickness meter, which costs about $200 on Amazon, to detect repainted panels. Almost nobody brings one to a test drive. Dealers are counting on that. Number 7. The certified pre-owned label means far less than you're paying for. CPO, certified pre-owned. It sounds like the gold standard of used vehicle buying. It is not. Here is the reality. The CPO inspection process varies wildly depending on the brand, and more importantly, the individual dealership performing it. Most manufacturer CPO programs require a multi-point inspection of 100 to 200 plus items. But the mechanic performing that inspection is a dealership employee being paid flat rate hours, which means they earn more money by getting through inspections faster. Speed is incentivized. Thoroughness is not. A 2022 investigation by Automotive News found that CPO inspection reports routinely listed items as passed that had not been physically checked. One former dealership technician described the process. He said, "If the car starts and stops and does not have obvious major issues, you check the boxes. You are doing 4 to 6 of these a day. You are not doing a full diagnostic on each one. And here is the number that should make your stomach drop. The CPO markup is typically $1,500 to $3,500 over the non-certified equivalent used vehicle. You are paying a premium for documentation that was likely completed in 45 minutes by a technician with no financial incentive to find anything wrong. The only CPO programs with serious third-party accountability involve brands like Toyota and Lexus, which have dealer auditing processes. Domestic brand CPO programs, particularly Stellantis and GM, have faced repeated class action lawsuits over what plaintiffs call fraudulent certification, vehicles sold as CPO with pre-existing issues that passed inspection on paper only. Number 6. Mechanical repairs are patched just long enough to get past the test drive. Here is something every former service advisor will tell you if you get them talking off the record. The standard for repairing a trade-in before resale is not to fix the problem. It is to fix it enough that it survives the test drive and the first 30 days. Why 30 days? Because that is typically how long an implied warranty or dealer guarantee lasts on a used vehicle. If a problem surfaces on day 31, it becomes your problem. Transmission shudder on a 2020 Ford Explorer trade-in. Technicians will add a friction modifier additive to the transmission fluid and do a quick service. It smooths the shifts temporarily. It will not last 6 months, but it will get through the test drive and the first few weeks. Suspension clunks on a Chevy Traverse. They will spray silicone lubricant into the control arm bushings. That quiets it down for 60 days. A faulty ABS sensor throwing a warning light. They clear the code. That practice should concern you the most. In 2023, a service manager who left a major group dealership wrote a detailed Medium post titled "Why I Quit." He described a direct instruction from management to use a practice called Code Clear and move on trade-ins with minor electrical faults before customer-facing inspection. Management wanted those lights off the dashboard before the detail team took over. That was standard practice. It was not written down anywhere. It was just understood. Number 5. They reset your check engine light every single time. This is the one that makes people genuinely angry when they find out. And it is happening constantly at dealerships across the country. Every modern vehicle has an OBD2 port, usually under the dash on the driver's side. Any mechanic, any service tech, any $25 scan tool from AutoZone can plug into that port and clear every single stored diagnostic trouble code in under 30 seconds. The codes are clear. All those warning lights on the dashboard, gone. Until the underlying problem triggers them again, which typically takes 50 to 100 miles of driving. So when you test drive a used trade-in SUV that just came off someone else's lease or loan, you are often driving a vehicle whose check engine light was on 48 hours ago. The codes have been cleared. The monitors have not had enough time to run through a full drive cycle and reset. The car seems perfectly fine. The software looks like a freshly wiped slate. Here's the thing. This is actually detectable. When codes are cleared, the readiness monitors show incomplete status. A basic OBD2 scanner will show you this in seconds. But the average buyer does not know to look for it, and salespeople are not going to volunteer that information. A 2021 report from the National Consumer Law Center found that used vehicle dealers in 26 states have no specific legal obligation to disclose recently cleared diagnostic codes. You are buying that vehicle with an information asymmetry that is entirely by design. Before we get to the top 4, do me a favor. Hit that like button if this is making you think twice about the next used SUV you buy. What we have not covered yet is even worse. Number 4. High mileage trade-ins get sent to auction, but not before one final trick. Every dealership has an internal threshold, usually somewhere around 80,000 to 120,000 miles, depending on the make. Once a trade-in crosses that threshold, it is deemed not retailable, meaning it will not go on their lot. It goes straight to the wholesale auction. But here is what happens before it leaves. The auction market has its own grading system called a CR score, the condition report score, ranging from 1 to 5. Higher scores mean higher bids. Dealers know exactly what raises a score: a clean detail, no visible warning lights, fresh tires, and a good first impression walk around. So even vehicles headed to auction get the smoke and mirrors treatment, a detail, cleared diagnostic codes, sometimes a fresh set of cheap tires from a discount warehouse, purely to bump the auction score by half a point. That half-point bump can mean $800 to $1,500 more at auction for an SUV. Who buys at auction? Other used car dealers, independent lots, buy here, pay here operations, and rental car resellers. Those operators do their own make-ready before selling to consumers. So what actually happens to a 115,000-mile Kia Sorento with a transmission shutter and a recently cleared code? It gets detailed at Dealer A, cleared and auctioned. It is bought by a smaller lot, detailed again, cleared again, and put on their lot at $13,999 as a clean title, well-maintained family SUV. By the time you test drive it, that car has been through the disguise process twice. You will never know unless you bring a scanner and a mechanic. Number 3, what they do to the odometer data is a legal gray area that should not exist. This is the one that former insiders talk about in whispers, because it sits right on the edge of what is technically illegal and what just has not been prosecuted yet. Modern SUVs store odometer data in multiple places across the vehicle network of control modules, including the instrument cluster, the ECU, the BCM, and the airbag module. Federal Odometer Fraud Law under 49, USC Section 32703, prohibits physical rollback of a mechanical odometer. But digital odometer data exists across multiple modules, and certain scan tools used by technicians can access and, in some cases, adjust module data that feeds displayed mileage. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration received 659 odometer fraud complaints in 2023 alone, a number they acknowledge is dramatically underreported because most consumers do not know they have been victimized. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit has described digital odometer fraud as one of the fastest growing forms of automotive consumer fraud, partly because the forensic tools needed to detect it are expensive and not widely available. A Carfax investigation published in their internal research found that approximately 450,000 vehicles sold annually in the United States show signs of potential odometer discrepancy based on historical inspection data versus reported mileage at sale. You do not need to be a fraud victim to be affected by this. Even the legal gray area practice of dealers clearing trip data and normalizing dashboard presentation before sale constitutes an information suppression that costs buyers every single time. Number 2, the financing desk knows exactly which trade-ins will cost you the most, and they use that against you. Here is where it all comes together into one seamless financial trap. When you trade in your old SUV and buy a replacement from the same dealership, everything gets bundled. Your trade-in value, your new purchase price, your financing rate, and your loan term all get negotiated as a single package. And that is exactly how dealerships want it, because when everything is bundled, you lose the ability to evaluate any single element clearly. A dealership can give you $2,000 more on your trade-in, make it back by moving you from a 60-month loan to an 84-month loan, and actually net more total interest revenue while you leave feeling like you won. This is called payment packing, and it is the most common financial manipulation at dealerships today. A study in 2023 by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that borrowers who negotiated monthly payments rather than total vehicle price paid an average of $3,872 more over the life of their loan for equivalent vehicles. Nearly $4,000 extra because they were focused on the monthly number. Meanwhile, the trade-in SUV you just handed over, that same vehicle is going through every process we have already described, getting cleaned up and relisted at a markup of $9,000 to $12,000 on average. The National Automobile Dealers Association's own data shows that used vehicle gross profit per unit averaged $2,337 in 2023 on the front end alone. That is before financing reserve, warranty products, and add-on fees. The trade-in is not a side transaction. It is the center of the entire deal structure. And every element around it is engineered with one goal: to transfer as much of your money to their ledger as legally possible. Number 1. The reconditioning process has a known end date, and it is before your return window closes. Here is the most calculated part of all of this, and once you understand it, you can never unsee it. Every product used in the dealer reconditioning process, the odor eliminators, the leather conditioners, the suspension lubricants, the paint touch-up blends, the friction modifiers in the transmission fluid, has a known, effective lifespan. Detail shop professionals know their products. Service technicians know how long an additive smooths a shutter. Body shop operators know when blend work starts to show. And here's the thing: that lifespan is almost universally longer than the dealer's return window or implied warranty period, but shorter than 1 year of normal use. The ozone treatment that kills smoke smell lasts 60 to 90 days. A friction modifier in an automatic transmission smooths shifts for 90 to 120 days. Silicone sprayed suspension bushings stay quiet for 45 to 60 days. Cheap blend paintwork holds through 2 full seasonal temperature cycles before peeling. Cleared OBD, 2 codes stay cleared until the problem reappears, which on a slow electrical fault can take 3 to 6 months of driving. The reconditioning timeline is not accidental. It is calibrated. A former dealership group operations director who now works as a consumer advocate described it this way in a 2024 interview with The Drive. Everything in reconditioning is built around a window. Get it past 90 days, and statistically the customer is not coming back. They assume it is their problem now. The reconditioning process exists to buy time, not to fix vehicles. This is the core of what makes the trade in SUV pipeline so consequential. It is not that every vehicle is catastrophically damaged. Many are perfectly fine, genuinely good used vehicles. But the system is designed so that you cannot tell which is which. The information asymmetry is structural. The process is designed to close that gap in the dealer's favor every single time. So what do you actually do with this information? First, bring a basic OBD2 scanner to any used SUV test drive. They cost $25 on Amazon. Check the readiness monitors. If multiple monitors show incomplete status, those codes were recently cleared. Walk away or demand a full dealer diagnostic at their expense. Second, get a pre-purchase inspection from an independent mechanic who is not affiliated with the selling dealer. Expect to pay $100 to $150. That $150 has saved buyers from $6,000, $8,000, $15,000 in surprise repairs, more times than any statistic can capture. Third, on the financing side, never negotiate a bundle. Get your trade in value in writing first. Negotiate the purchase price separately. Then, and only then, bring financing into the conversation. Fourth, if you smell something, literally or figuratively, on a used trade-in, trust it. The detail shop is good, but it is not perfect forever. That is all for today. If this opened your eyes to what is actually happening behind those service bay doors, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you do not miss what is coming next. Drop a comment below. Have you ever bought a used SUV and discovered something the dealer clearly knew about? The comment section on this one is going to be something. See you next time.